Hey guys, welcome back. Today I would like to take you into the highlights of chapter 1 of my book. Um, that's where it all began. So, my early years, middle school, 6th grade, the time when love is supposed to be innocent, passing notes in class and awkward slow dances and, phone calls until your parents yell at you to get off the phone. And that's exactly how it was for me at first. I met David, blonde hair, blue eyes. He had those kind of eyes that you just would get lost in. He was one of the cutest boys in school, and he knew it. Every girl wanted him, and he wanted me. And, that made me feel special. Like I was chosen. And what I didn't know at the time was that those middle school hallways were just the very beginning of something that would later turn into 3 years of just pure hell. David was charming. He was the flirty type, He would compliment my outfit, tell me how pretty I was, He was the kind of boy, he knew exactly what to say to make any girl just melt. And he asked me out, over and over again. And I finally gave in. I was trying to play hard to get. And by 7th grade, I caved. And so we were dating, and just holding hands in the hallway and talking on the phone, going to dances, hugs before class, and little quick kisses before the teacher catches us. We had our first kiss at a school dance, and my heart just melted. I just thought he was perfect. And he was like, my first real love. Sometimes he came over to my house, and we would mostly hang out in my room. My mom made us keep the door open, of course. But we, when we would lay on the couch or whatever, it felt so amazing to lay there with him. But Mom would come in and, be annoying, want to check our hands. So, I know now she was just trying to protect me, but, it was annoying back then. But he would never let me go to his house, and I never really understood why. I didn't know if he was embarrassed or ashamed or, if it was me. Later, I found out that his dad was a drunk and that he was very violent and abusive, and that he would beat the living shit out of his mom. So badly that, David and his brother would have to step in and fight him. So, I couldn't imagine. And I couldn't imagine being a child and having to fight off your parent to protect your mother. But, that kind of broke me, It made me want to love him harder. I couldn't wrap my head around why someone needed to be that way. But I wanted to be the safe place for him, that he didn't have at home. I wanted to be, the person that would never hurt him, that, made him feel comfortable. And I savored every moment that we were together, because I thought that, I could fix him. I thought I could fix him with love. Have you ever thought that? It's not good. You can't, okay? So, if this part of my story is pulling on your heart right now, go ahead and hit that like button. not just for me, but so this video makes it to whoever needs to see it or hear it. Make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be sharing every chapter in this series, and it's going to be raw, unfiltered, and straight from my heart. Don't forget also, the link for the book is in the description below if you want to go ahead and read ahead and find out where it goes. That's where you'll find it. So anyway, weekends were the times that we spent most of our time together. We would go to Skateland, you know, that was in his little neighborhood, and he was good. He was good at skating. He went every weekend, and it showed. He could skate backwards, he could spin around, he could, you know, squat down, and he could do limbo. And, you know, me, on the other hand, I'm just trying not to fall. But he'd hold my hand and, you know, steady me around, and we would always stop in the back corner where it was dark and make out for a minute, you know, just puppy love. We were just completely wrapped up in each other. But then he moved, and it was just across the bridge, but it was in another school district, and it felt like a whole world away. You know, you can't hardly go to two different schools when you're kids and it work out. It doesn't work. You know, we couldn't walk home from school anymore. We couldn't go to the same dances, and it didn't survive. So eventually we broke up, and we were both devastated. But here's the thing. Those early innocent beginnings, they planted seeds, you know, and when he came back into my life later, those same blue eyes and that same charm, you know, they were enough to hook me again. And this, you know, this time it turned out to not be sweet and innocent. And that's why I started my book here, to show you how it begins, you know, because abuse doesn't show up on the first day. It sneaks in through charm, and it sneaks in through what love is supposed to look like. So, you know, if you're following along and this story resonates with you, hit like and subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. And if you want to dive deeper and hear the whole story, feel free to hit that link and grab my book. Chapter 1 was about the innocent beginning, you know, the puppy love, the first kisses, skating rinks. But it also shows you the cracks starting to form, his family history, the abuse that he witnessed and went through himself, you know, the signs that I didn't really know how to read back then. So next, in chapter 2, things really start to shift. The boy with the blue eyes and the charm begins to show another side. And, you know, that's when the story really starts to take a turn. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And, you know, like I said, if you're ready to read ahead, grab that book in the link. And thank you for being here with me. And thank you for listening, for walking through my story with me. Your support means more than you know. And together, we're starting the Self-First Revolution. And we're doing that by speaking up, by healing, and by taking our power back. I can't wait.